believe of August here. Let me check and make sure that would be correct. Um, I've got I got a video here that I want you to watch. Let's see here. Yep, 21st of August, 2026. Does anybody else feel like they're holding their breath? You know? Does anybody else feel like they're underwater? Does anybody else feel like they're alone? Hopeless? Lost, maybe? Scared? All of the above? Well, it's easy to feel that way because you ain't alone. I'm telling you. Only difference is, you know, there's people that gets frightened and they run away, and then there's people that gets frightened but then they become pissed, and those are the most awesome people, you know, because they can literally do what most people can't, you know, and that's exactly what we have to do. It's not a want or a desire or even a choice to be made. It's, you know, have to do it. You know, I had said a while back, and I was the first one, I believe, that said it. Maybe not the first one that thought of it or whatever, but I do know that, you know, I started thinking, well, wait a minute, Elon Musk had access to all of the information for the U.S. I mean, wide open. You remember when old demonic Jew boy Trump there opened up the doors and said, "Here you go," and then went in there with his Elon took his team in there with old big balls and the rest of them. You remember that? Supposed to saved us trillions of dollars. Remember? Oh, he was going to cut 4 point some trillion dollars or something of waste. But then all of a sudden, after they went in there and they hooked all these computers up and got them hooked up and ready to go online, then it just like they just snuck out the back door and nobody said anything. Like, does anybody hear anything out of Doge anymore? I'll tell you what I think it stands for. Probably, uh, dumb old Americans or something, because we don't have an America. There's no America. There's just we, the people, the Americans, and I just wonder if it's really we, the sheeple, Americans. But it's not just Americans, is it? It's all over the world. So many things are going on, so on and so forth. I also said, I didn't hear it from somebody else, but I'm telling you, the dollar is shit. The dollar is toast. It's gone. It's crap. Yeah. Now you might have some, in your pocket right now, or you might have some stashed here or there. You may have some that you think is, somewhere. And what you have and what you're seeing is you're seeing those pieces of paper with demonic symbols all over them and dead presidents. And whenever I say presidents, remember U.S. Incorporated presidents. They've lied to us all the way across the board. It's all corrupt. Even if you try to go back to and you say, well, the first president, George Washington. Well, that turns out that's a lie. And then whenever if you look up anything, I don't care what it is, they, meaning the demonics, Rothschild, Rockefeller, Kennedys, so on and so forth. And I have a video here that really, really is, I'm like, yeah, all right. I procrastinate about getting on here because Who in the hell likes to be the bearer of such wonderful news all the time, right? Information, I should say. News. North, east, west, and south. News. Anyway, yeah, we gotta all band together, whether you like it or not, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to be banded together anyhow. I started saying about Elon going in there, having access to all that information, so on and so forth. Well, what was he doing? What was the real connection there? Who's Elon connected with? You know, he's connected with the most powerful people. Right now, who are the most powerful people? The people that's that already sucked up all of the money from us. Listen. And in case you just can't put this together, okay? You, whether you like it or not, you promised that you would be turning over money, something valuable, to those demonic Rothschild, Rockefellers, those demons. No shit. You had no say in it. And here's how they did it. I just seen a thing a while ago, and I don't know what it was on. I think it was advertising a game or something. I'm not sure what it was, but I watched it, and it made a lot of sense. You know, it was right on, just like if you go back. And I keep trying to tell everybody, when they switched out the United States of America for U.S. Incorporated, like even right now, I'll guarantee you, like that doesn't really hit you like it should hit you, because maybe you're trying to avoid being hit, but I'm telling you right now, you're in for getting hit like you ain't never been hit before. And there's things coming to you if you stay on your ass and you do nothing, like that your worst nightmares couldn't even begin to touch, or no horror movie could ever show. We watched here on this show, or whatever this is, right here on this demonic owned YouTube, of an active Air Force military. You know, our military, right? Not ours at all. That's that shit. If you're in the military right now, oh my God, I feel so bad for you. I can't even tell you. But this individual, and you can look this up or go back and watch the shows or whatever on here, but he literally said, that what he was about to do, light himself on fire, was nothing. He said mild compared to what they was doing to them over there in Gaza. Palestine. And he dumped fuel all over himself and then lit it. And you can see that video if you want. I don't care to play it again. It's just, I got some other stuff to get through today. And people, and I'm saying people because it's we the people. If you don't get off your ass and do something, and here's how easy getting off your ass is just realizing where we are all at, but more importantly, where we're all going to end up. Now, see, you'll have these so-called Christians that they'll say, well, that's the Lord's will. If that's the Lord's will, then it's the Lord's will. Well, absolutely so. It wouldn't make any difference. if you done this or if you done that, right? So sitting on your ass, Lord will be done. And if you get up and you try to do something, the Lord's will is still going to be done. Now, I don't know what your religion is, but mine most certainly is, and it's not a religion, is that I know my Lord and Savior is real. To the point where I know that if I know that there's a child being harmed in any way, that he most certainly would want me to do something. He would want me to stop that in any way necessary to make it stop. And I challenge any of you to try to fuss or feud or find fault with that. And that's what we're doing, because, when you look at it across the board, we're all God's children. And there is somebody attacking the children. They have been in the past, they are right now, and they will and are going to continue that. So if you are claiming, well, I'm a Christian and that's why I'm not going to do anything, that is such a cop-out for you're scared to death and you don't know what to do, that I can't, it's a coward. If you look back, Saul became Paul, or any of them, they done what it is that they was going to do, and if they was wrong or whatever, which in that case it was, right? Then God struck him blind and spoke directly to him, But that's a different situation than what's going on here, or it's the same if you look at it from different ways there. But you can't sit back and do nothing, because if you do, you're a coward. You're not going to go to heaven. I'll guarantee you that. No way. Because what's the story about the three servants, and the master was going away, and he gave each one of them, in accordance to their position or whatever, an allotted amount of money, and the first one went out and did and gained and so on and so forth. I mean, just on a normal, I mean, without overthinking anything or whatever, just somebody that would sit back and be okay for what's happening to continue happening, you're insane. And people say, well, what can we do? What can we do? Well, you support anybody that is saying what you truly feel, what you truly know is right. Support them, Even on here, like if you're that frightened that you just can't do anything else, there's nothing wrong with pushing a thumbs up for somebody that's on here or whatever. I don't care about mine. Like I said, I'm not talking about this one right here. I'm not monetized. I never got any kind of money whatsoever, nor would I want any. I don't want any. I am here just self-documentation, if for no other reason. I'm speaking up, I'm speaking out, and I'm saying I never wanted, I don't accept, I'm not going to stand for, not going to tolerate this demonic debauchery and genocide of everybody, because let's face it, it's not just across seas or Palestine or just certain places, It's all over the world. It's everywhere. The reason why is because the demonics really hate everybody, and they have this prayer, or what, I don't, it's not a prayer, what is it, where they want their Messiah to come, which is Satan, Baal, Baal. And that's what they're working on. They don't recognize you as human. They have their Talmud that I've showed many, many times. I'm not going to do that again. Not, well, I mean, I'm not saying I won't, maybe in the future or something, if we have that long or whatever. I don't know. But I've done showed it before. You can go look up their piece of shit Talmud and read it for yourself, where it literally tells them to kill you because you are not one of them. Period. You know, when you read where it says that they kill the children afterwards, after they torture, rape, and beat them and so on, because the child had demons that made them do it. So you literally have them making the perpetrator the victim, making the murderer the victim, making the molesters the victim. So anytime that you hear, you know, like different people saying, "Oh yeah, they always play the victim. They always play the victim." They sure do. They're great at it, and this is why I'm giving you this. Go look it up in their Talmud. It literally says when they rape a child that it is for. Then they have to murder it because it had demons. It made them do that. Listen, if you don't know the definition of demonic, you just heard it. So sit back and say that you're a Christian, but I'm going to tell you something right now. You ain't lying to me, and I know you ain't lying to the Lord above. That is somebody saying, "Well, I'm a coward. No, I don't want to do anything. I'm going to get in my nice vehicle here that runs fine and everything for right now." But guess what? You see, what they've always done is like what they're trying to do now. They will take out all of the poorer people. Why is that? Because anybody that has a little bit of money, they use the poorer people to work for them, right? So they're going to get rid of your, what you see as help, whether you pay them or not. You know what I mean? Somebody pays for something. You see, it used to be back in the day, people understood that if you done a service or a job for somebody or something, even though you would hand over cash to them, you know, you was raised properly, you know, in church, and to respect people and your elders and so on and so forth, you know, and that there was a higher power and that you was loved and that you was a part of, and not to rip somebody off because, you know, you're ripping your family off. But see, these demonics destroyed that. They destroyed that. How many of you's out there now? How many of you's has got family that you could call up right now and that you know that they would be there in less than a hiccup, you know? And granted, man, I'm telling you, there's some families that have individuals that, I mean, for whatever reason, they grab onto the debauchery that's been offered to them. You know, they like that whole, or maybe they don't even think they like it. Maybe they just do it just because. But that's how far that we have gotten. But I started to tell you that there was a thing that I seen on here. You know, with the America, like I was talking about switching out the United States of America, people will say, well, you know, that's not really that big of a deal. Well, hold on, let me show you the little change here, okay? The example that they was given, and I forget what this was on. I just watched it, but they said they'll put in subtle word changes, and they was given an example. They said there was all animals that was running the farm, and nobody was the boss, nobody was the head or anything. So just the animals, and I know it's weird, but look where we're living at. So, but the animals decided that they was all equal, nobody was better than the other, blah, blah, blah. And there was a rule put in place that nobody could sleep in a bed. None of them could sleep in a bed. But then the pigs decided that they was going to just write in there without anybody else knowing about it or voting on it or anything else, but they was just going to write without sheets. So then instead of it being no one can sleep in a bed, oh, I think it was with sheets. I think it was, yeah. So anyway, so the pigs wrote in with sheets. So nobody can sleep in a bed with sheets. So now the pigs are sleeping in the bed. And they're sleeping in the bed because it says with sheets. Well, they didn't have sheets. So they you see what I mean? Little subtle changes like that, and that's what it was pointing out. And it's a really good example or whatever of the very things that they've done. That's how simple that they've done this. And they continue to do it. Now, here's one of the biggest things that I want to point out, you know. The demonics, the dumb shits that's the government, okay? And we know the government is the enemy, okay? Rothschild, Rockefeller, and Kennedy's, so on and so forth. What they do is they go in and they make up their own bullshit laws and stuff. Like, has anybody seen like where the Ford and all of them now, that if you get in that and you're upset that the vehicle won't even start, you know? Or what about the ones now you get in and it's constantly watching your face. Constantly watching your face. Okay? Now, that has to be in all the new vehicles and all that shit. Every one of them's got to have it by 27, I think it is, whatever it is. All the new vehicles, right? Now, let me ask you this. How many of you remember when this took place? Does anybody remember what year do you think that this took place when they actually passed this into law? Because I remember. I remember it really well. Anybody? Back row? 2021 is when they passed this shit. Okay, here's what happened. I remember, like, there was some squawk about it and stuff, including myself for a little while or whatever. And I called in, but of course, I've already showed numerous times how that is such a waste of time to call these. And you have these individuals out there, they're oh man, they're dumb as hell. They keep thinking that they're going to get elected and take this back over and fix it. You'll never, ever, ever fix this debauchery. You'll not do it. The only way this gets fixed is if we eliminate the assholes that's been dropping all this shit on us. You hear me? I'm telling you, you have to eliminate the assholes. If you eliminate the assholes, you eliminate the shit. And that's all that we've been dealing with, and that's all that continues to happen. More and more shit now. And there's so much shit, and they're doing it on purpose. Just like with Elon, like I said, he went in there with full access to all that shit. Who in the hell do you think he belongs to? Who do you think he's working for? How do you think that they get all their money? Okay, they have all these links and loopholes and stuff like that, but who do you think controls those loopholes? Where do you think the central bank is? Israel. Israel. The dollar has collapsed. It's trash. You're no longer worth anything to them. Remember, to them. You are a useless eater. You and I. They call our children animals. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I would never ever accept anybody calling my child that. So whatever it is that I need to do is exactly what I'm going to do, And, if you watched on the show, I talked to this one dumbass. I can't remember if it was a dumbass Matthew or dumbass Oscar at these so-called representatives, it's the enemy. Whenever you call in, it's the enemy. The dumbasses that answers these phones, and for people to keep saying that works for you, it works for you, works for us, that's so crazy, I mean, you can use that if you want to because it's supposed to be, but, there's no need in trying to fix something that is so clearly, it's not busted. You have to realize this is not a busted machine. This is not a corrupted machine. It's not. It's designed to do exactly what it has done. Now, if you're sitting in this chair or or if you're one of us, then you can say, well, they're bad, it's twisted up, it's screwed up, we can't fix that, so on and so forth, right? You're right. You can't, and that's my point that I'm making. You cannot fix stupid, all right? Well, that is beyond stupid, I mean, way above and beyond. Because whenever you start talking about, like, harming somebody else, especially children, especially anybody. But then it's another, like, it's like the ultimate, there's no other step to take than when they've already done it. And they're doing it right now. Like there's children and humans dying right now. And for what? For why? Why are they dying? I mean, who are we? What are we doing if we know this and we're sitting here and we do nothing, And if you're sitting in a big fluffy chair like I am right now, and you got water at your disposal and stuff for now, mind you that too. And you're comfortable, you can go get in your vehicle, you got enough money if you wanted to go get something to eat or whatever you want. Which is another thing, right? You can't just say, well, I'm gonna go get something to eat and not even have a thought in your head about whether it's gonna poison you or not. Or if there was some demonic, deranged idiot, Bill Gates, behind it, giving you alpha-gal syndrome or some shit when you walk outside, with the Lone Star tick or whatever. And the genetically modified mosquitoes. Listen, you know what there's so much shit right now, man, I'm telling you. I can't even spit it all out at one time. Because Elon Musk had access to all that information. Works for who? Rothschilds, Rockefeller, Dimitri's, Kennedy's, Freeman's. There's like 13 of the demonic bloodlines there. But they're connecting them to these data centers. And they are, regardless, because you guys know about it down in Texas here especially, there was a county down there, and they all come out. All the people showed up at their town meeting or whatever, right? Their town meeting was funny. But, I mean, how much more proof do you need than this? You know, they all showed up, said, we don't want this data center. I keep on calling them what they are, which is processing centers. But guess what happened? Even though they went out, remember, they all stood up. You know, they all stood up, used their voice together, said, nope, we don't want it. Go look it up now. It's down there. It's standing up and operating and everything else. Why are they pushing all these to come online? Well, I don't know if you ever heard of Big Brother or whatever. I hate that. I hate the word brother. I just like when it comes to talking about this kind of shit because it's such horse shit, you know. But they're saying it derogatorily. They're not really meaning it, you know. But it's going to watch everything that you do. Now, here's the thing. Maybe you're one of those and you say, well, if you ain't doing nothing wrong, what do you got to hide? Well, here's what I would say. Well, you got any problems with letting anybody walk off the street and just watch your granddaughter, you know, however old she is? Would you want them in the bathroom with her, watching her take a bath or anything? Well, hell no, right? Well, why not? Why not? Because you don't know who's on the other side of that camera, you know? I think that individuals, if you went out and you know what, I'm not even going to roll through scenarios like what's the right thing, the difference between right recording and wrong recording. Wrong recording is all these assholes that's doing it. They're getting your but now here I'm going to point out something here to you. Do you realize that when you go to the DMV for your license plates and stuff, what you're actually signing is you're signing your vehicle and all that shit over to them, and you're literally giving your signature saying that you'll play by their demonic rules and regulations. And when you have a driver's license, it's the same thing. You're calling yourself a driver. So therefore, you hopped out of your traveling situation and you hopped into a driving situation. Now, Black Laws Dictionary and so on and so forth, you know, it clearly tells you the difference, you know. But a driver's license is when you're in commerce. So if you go get in your vehicle and your neighbor, Myrtle or whoever, says, hey, I'll give you $1 to take me to town, well, you're in commerce. You're delivering her. So then you'd need a driver's license. If Myrtle says, hey, will you go and take this package over to so-and-so's, her sister's house, and she's going to pay you $1 for doing that, well, you're in commerce. If you're hauling something and you're getting paid, you're in commerce. You got to have a driver's license, okay? But if you're traveling with your property, because it says to be secure, the Constitution says to be secured your papers, properties, and effects. And that you have the right to travel unmolested, is what it says. Means if you ain't hurting somebody else, then there's no reason for them to be stopping you for any reason. But because everybody is afraid of the blue line demonics, which make no mistake about it, every cop is a piece of shit. I don't give it. And if you're a cop, you really should, consider, like self checkout. If you know somebody that's a cop or something and you want to jump on that bandwagon, then go ahead, because all of these pieces of shit. I'm not even joking you, man. I got a video of one of them on here where he puts a bounty on your head, on we the people's head. And they've been getting by with this shit. And they keep doing this because they can't do their job. They can't do it. They don't know how to do it. They're incapable of doing it. They really are. And I mean, whenever when their mom and dad is Baphomet, then there's no reason to ever think that they would ever have anything to do with being a peace officer. You see? Because that was Reagan back in early 80s, whenever he switched out the peace officers and then went to law enforcement, And here's another thing that I'm going to throw in there, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, George Soros, all of them are Donald Trump. They are all butt plug puppets to those 13 demonic bloodlines. And I'm telling you, for anybody who's thinking, well, I'm not into religion, I don't believe that or whatever, just keep not believing it. But I don't know how stupid you could be when you look around. I mean, I knew people in the past, several people, they said, well, they weren't religious, or they didn't find God yet, or they didn't this, or they didn't that, or whatever. They just wanted to travel, and they just wanted to be left alone, and needed people to go in there that wasn't Christian. I can remember them saying that. And guess what? They got exactly what they wanted, because what did they do? They always try to use, and I want you to think about this, they always want to pretend to be Christian. Why? Because if Christians are so bad, why would they get up and lie and want so desperately for you to believe that you are a Christian? Now, I'm not talking about fake one. I'm not talking about, just religion. I'm talking about a true Christian, somebody that absolutely knows that there's the Father and His Son and the Holy Ghost, Jesus, Yeshua, Yahusha, however you want to say the Father, Son's, name, but we know that we're talking about the Father's one and only begotten Son. But why do you think that they always, want to claim that they're a true Christian? Why would you do that? If it's so bad, because do you know Donald Trump even, he jumped on that wagon too? That so many of them have. Go back and look. Why did they do that? Because true Christians, they want to do the right thing. They want to, they want peace. They want to help you if you need help. They don't want to step on anybody's toes or whatever. But here's where you cross the line. Now, see, they have manipulated, twisted, taken out of our Bible, our God-given right to have the message that was ours. But now we know, undoubtedly, absolutely no doubt, that they have mucked with it, they have twisted it, and why? They've taken it out, they've put in, they've manipulated. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because they don't want us to realize how important that we are. They don't want us to know the power that we possess. And for the mere fact that they even done anything whatsoever to it, anything, makes them my absolute positive enemy. They are my enemy. So here's what they're doing also. Think about this Epstein list, which is not the only list. You know, this is just the one that happens to be front and center because it's the one that we know about. So do you think that it just all of a sudden quit happening and stuff? No. Over in Ukraine, you know, the Russians claim that they had found, and we looked at the pictures and read the article on the show here, or on this station here, whatever this is, and they said that there was just rows of children that was so out of it, and they had hoses hooked to them, draining them of their blood and stuff, because right now everybody's watching and looking for, you know, people, this adrenochrome and all that, you know. But I got a video here for you, so I don't even know if there's anybody on here or not. If there is, praying for you. Thanks for being here. And if not, like I said, self-documentation. So let me see if I can find this here video. I wanted to see. Yep, here it is.
Order is run by the 13 ancient bloodline families.
Let me see if I can.
The New World Order is run by the 13 ancient bloodline families. The Rothschilds control global banking. The Rockefellers control oil, medicine, and education. The DuPonts, Astors, Bundys, Collins, Freemans, Kennedys, Lai family, Onassis, Reynolds, and Van Deuens fill out the rest. These families own the politicians, the media, and the military-industrial complex. They sit above every government and decide what happens on the ground. They serve entities like Ball and have been running this agenda for centuries. The next phase is the final control grid. The data centers are the brain of the operation. They're almost fully online. Once that's complete, the digital ID rolls out and gets tied to your ability to function. Then comes the chip, which will control your money, food, medicine, and movement. By 2028, they'll start making it mandatory for survival, and by 2030, the system locks in. This is the permanent prison they're racing to build before too many people wake up. The New World Order is run by the 13 ancient bloodline families. The Rothschilds control global banking.
Then that there is kind of saying the same thing. I thought, man, that's pretty good there. They kind of summarized up, you know, what I've been saying, and people's not going to pay attention, but they're bringing the Noahide laws online and stuff. They're going to have their first meeting November 2nd. Of this year, November 2nd, 2026. Now, they are pushing so hard. They have, and I want to make sure that I get this into. I started saying earlier, but here's what they've done. They've flooded our country right here with the when they drop the borders open or whatever, and see, everybody said, oh well, that's Biden coming in, and that's Biden wants to do that, and that it's the Democrats and all that stuff. Man, I'm telling you, you're still looking way down the toilet pipe. You're too far down the toilet pipe. You're not getting up there and actually seeing the assholes that's putting the shit in the damn pipe to begin with. You're too far down if you're still seeing Democrat, Republican, and all that shit. You're still blind. You're blind if you're seeing red and blue or liberal or any of that shit. Now, I know there's retarded people that's Republican, Democrat, and liberal and shit that really think that they're somehow going to save something that was created in order to kill you and manipulate you and use you, but you're not worth anything any longer because they've already wrote out all of your money. They've spent it ahead of that. You ever seen somebody like it doesn't matter if you give them $5, it's gone. If you give them $100, it's gone. No matter what you do, even if you tell them, you say, now listen, I'm going to give you this, but you're going to have to kind of pace that out or whatever. It don't matter. It's gone. Okay? Well, that's literally what you have here. There's no need in wasting your breath saying that you can save this government. There is no saving this government because this government that you think you're going to fix, again, I don't know how to make it any clearer. It don't belong to you. It don't belong to me. It's not us. The only thing that it works perfectly. It was set up to do the very thing as what it's doing now. It works flawlessly. I mean, I'll guarantee you, whenever they're having their dinners and shit like that, all of them sitting around, I'll guarantee you they are laughing at how well that it works. As a matter of fact, like right now, this dollar has collapsed, and they're pissed because they're having to reverse the money flow. Instead of it going to them, it's so bad now, it's collapsed, it's trash. Now they're having to actually let some of that money keep us fooled a little while longer. And they can't stand that. So they're just trying to figure out, and they've already figured it out. They're already killing us, right? How healthy do you feel today? Why do you think someone, if you're a bodybuilder or anything else, why do you think that you have to take supplements? Why should you have to take supplements? Why couldn't you just get that off of natural food or something? You could. But you can't now. And watch them. So many of them says, well, they're flying over to Italy or wherever the hell it's at just to eat so they can lose weight. No kidding. Fly over, eat pasta and meat and everything else, healthier, and they lose weight. Look that shit up for yourself. All right, well, going to make a phone call to the enemy here real quick. I'm not going to stay on here much longer, but I want to call these pieces of shit. Now this here phone says it's about dead. That's all right. Hopefully I can just tell them to get the hell out anyway. That's all I want anyway.
Can I help you?
Dave Taylor, Ohio.
I'm sorry.
Dave Taylor, Ohio, District 2.
One moment.
202-224-3121. That's the number.
Congressman Taylor's office. How can I help you?
Who am I speaking with?
May I have your first name, sir?
Who am I speaking with?
My name is Eva.
All right, Eva. Tell them pedophiles to get the hell out of our country. We the people are done with all of yous. You guys are the enemy, every one of yous. You don't. There's no need in saying you work for us or whatever. No, we already know that you don't. You have zero respect. Every one of you was raised and created by your guys' Messiah, which is Baphomet. We want nothing to do with you except for exterminating you to get you the hell out of this country. You got that?
I can get your message over to the congressman for you, sir.
I bet you won't. I bet you won't. Why in the hell did you ask me my name or anything else? Why would you do that? If somebody calls in there, what do you think that there's somebody else that would call from another country or something like that?
Sir, in order to pass along the message to the congressman, we ask every constituent caller for their first and last name.
Okay, so then whenever you told me that you'd get my message across, then you was lying to me, right?
Sir,
You asked me for my name. You asked me for my name. I didn't give it to you. I gave you the message, and then you said you would get that to the congressman, and you didn't have my name.
And I asked you for your first and last name.
Well, you're not getting it. I've gave it 1,000,000 times, and that's a pretty simple message, and you know that all we the people's saying that anyway. But you guys don't recognize we the people. Not even yourself. You don't even. You know what? Here's the thing. Here's what I often wonder. Is like, do you sitting there right now, or Oscar or Matthew, do any of you guys already know who it is you're working for and what side that you're on? And I'm not talking about we the people, or is it that you really don't realize what you guys are doing? I mean, either way, you have to understand that you are the enemy because of where you're sitting. And if you're taking money from we the people, but see, that'll offend you, won't it? Because you don't want anybody saying, oh, you're giving me money, you're not giving me anything, because I get up and I come in here and I do for you. Well, see, that's the amount of disrespect that we the people have been tolerating from the enemy. But see, now we realize that this is all coming from the demonic 13 bloodlines. Rothschild, Rockefeller, Kennedys, Freemans, Demichis, and so on and so forth. And you know what? I'll bet you right now, I bet you don't even know about the Noahide laws, do you? You'll say, nope. And guess what? This November 2nd of this year, they're going to have the first meeting on the Noahide laws. And you know what that means? And I'm not kidding you. It means you're going to have your head cut off. And have you ever heard of Jade Helm? Jade Helm? I bet you. Why don't you go ahead and hang up, you stupid motherfucker. Hang the fuck up like you always do. You guys are pieces of shit. Get out of our fucking country. That's the fucking message. Pretty fucking clear. Simple. Get the fuck out. Any other questions, retard? I'm just sick of their shit. You see, anytime you start saying something, I did that purposely because if you say something, I mean, wouldn't you kind of be curious if you didn't know about it? Wouldn't you be like, well, what is that? You know? And they have computers, as you've already seen here on the show and stuff, you know? But I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't give a fuck. I'll tell anybody, I don't give a fuck. I would like to be that. I would like to be the person sitting there watching them get filleted upside down. Because they're going to do it to us. And it'll probably be me. But let me tell you something. Lord help them if it's not me. Lord help them if it comes time and they, oh man, I tell you what, Lord can do anything that He wants to do, and it all belongs to Him absolutely. But man, do I really, if I get the position and they say, well, we need somebody, to swing this axe, or we need somebody to release the blade or whatever it is, I'm putting in for that position. I really do. I really am. Because if you think that sounds bad, let me tell you this right now, kiss my fucking ass, because you can go right now and watch what they're doing to these prisoners and stuff over in Israel whenever they catch them. Letting dogs molest them. But no, let's not talk about doing the same thing. What's good for the goose, good for the gander. Well, we're not talking about gooses and ganders, are we? We're talking about demonic pedophiles. What do you do with them? Like I said, self-documentation. If you want to sit back and say nothing, then sit back and say nothing. But in the meantime, you literally are watching. You see, here's the thing. If the dollar collapsed, I'd be okay with that. I really would. I always hated the damn dollar. I hate it now. I hated it back then. From the very beginning, when I seen the very first dollar bill, and I mean, what? I don't know, 3 years old, however old, somebody hands you $1 and you flipping it around, the old dude, weird looking guy on the front, Washington, weird looking dude, that but you flip it over and there's that fucking eyeball looking at you. And you're like, why is there this is like what they have over across seas with this. But what's, this pyramid, but what's this eyeball doing on top of it? That's weird. Why is there one eyeball watching you? Guess what? You got that eyeball watching you now, don't you? You can't go out because they got the cock flocks watching every damn thing, right? We have talked nicely, and everybody's so worried about somebody's language or what they say or what they look like or whatever color they are or some bullshit, instead of saying, hey, you know what? We want this guy to go and stand up for us. We want this guy to be working for us. You and I and me and we all think the same way. Which one of us wants to serve first, so that the rest of us can, go and live our lives or whatever, and then when our turn comes around, we'll serve that time. Nope. Now, see, they snuck in while you and I decided, not you and I personally, but back in the day, see, it was decided that people would take turns. They would have term limits. Turn limits. But just like the pigs that wanted to switch out, not having sheets in the bed, then they sleep in the bed, right? Anyway, and they're all like that. Massey and all of them, they're all like that. Massey done a soft no. He is an agent. I don't give a shit what anybody says. All you have to do is look it up for yourself, but you won't. All right. Well, I've had all this shit. I was actually going to show some more videos and stuff, but I just, as usual, I'm pissed full for now. So hey, if you've been here, thanks for joining and watching this, hanging out, or whatever. If anybody was there, we'll play again, maybe tomorrow or sometime. Oh, there is somebody on here. Is that Hydra? Yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Noma, Of course, you. Jalen, I appreciate you guys for being here, for sure. Oh, there's a Golden Wing. Hey, what's up? Back in the house. All right, y'all. Hey, listen, appreciate it. I'm praying for y'all.